Hello, I'm the Eternal Newbie. The extra L is for lame. As in the DMs in today's stories are speed running to see who can be the lamest DM of them all. That's right. Today we look at two terrific tales of terrible DMs doing what they do best. Honestly, I'm not sure which is worse. The DM who TPK'd their party without giving them a chance to get out of it, or the DM who charges players to end their characters. Let's get to it. I joined in late to a session and didn't really know what was going on. For some reason, everyone was in the middle of fighting guards, when all of a sudden, a spooky unknown voice asked every character if they wanted help. One person said yes, and they told the voice that they wanted every single one of the player characters to be killed? This player character who asked this just so happens to be the DM's wife. Also, as a word of note, we are at level 6 at this point. Our backpacks all of a sudden have a magical force of nature trying to suck our bodies inside of each one of our backpacks. Something kind of like a black hole sucking in our very essence into said backpacks. Next thing I know, we are all separately rolling for grapple checks, all simultaneously. The DM did a group roll, saying that he rolled a nat 20 for the unknown forces grapple checks. So everyone had to roll a natural 20 or else they would be grappled, magically sucked into a bag of holding, and then immediately killed. As a reaction, because the only thing allowed for me to do was a reaction, I did a silvery barbs on the guy doing it against me, and I ended up rolling a nat 20 on a grapple check. So I succeeded. I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. I'm not going to die by this seemingly impossible situation. Well, my hopes and dreams were immediately squashed when the DM proceeded to say, okay, the evil force is going to attempt to grapple you again. I roll less good this time, and then I am forcefully sucked into this bag of holding. Every character failed their grapple checks and gets sucked into separate bags of holding, and then we see a third-person view of our character's world being exploded into oblivion, as our world was apparently a giant bag of holding, and we were put into another bag of holding, thus causing an enormous explosion and causing a TPK. Now, rules is written, this is impossible because you can't have a bag of holding in the first place, having a bag of holding inside of it. The DM made this up and somehow felt it was appropriate to rule as is. That was the causation of the explosion finally happening. The DM said the guy who did this to us was the big bad, and that this was supposed to be a longer campaign, not just 3 sessions. But there just so happened to be all the exact worst possible scenarios that all coincided with one another, with some unlucky natural 1 rolls to see what happened. And that's why it was a TPK. The DM proceeded to say that he wants to still run a campaign for us, and he would let us choose what kind of a theme we wanted. The majority of people said they wanted a horror campaign setting. I don't know if I even want to join in on that. I put a lot of work into my previous character and felt like all player autonomy I had been frivolously taken away from me. I don't think I can trust this guy DMing me anymore. He took zero responsibility for his decisions he made as a DM. And that is quite a huge deal in my opinion. Not just you, OP. My favorite part is when the DM didn't take any responsibility for this TPK that they completely caused. What were their words again? Oh yeah. Just so happened to be all the exact worst possible scenarios that all coincided with one another along with some unlucky nat 1 rolls to see what happened. Just so happened? Like the DM isn't the douchebag who made all this just so happen. With an assist from his wife, of course. You know what they say, the couple that TPKs together stays together. DM was bored with the campaign or wanted to do something different and decided to take it out in-game, instead of, talking to the players. I had the exact same thing happen to me. Twice. Though mine involved werewolves and water trolls. Oh, and OP, follow your instincts. Don't play with this DM again. Alright, now for the second story. A paid game. I believe it was about $15 a session. DM said that actions have consequences. I thought, okay, fair. Quest was to transport a strange coffin-shaped crate to somebody deep in the forest with orders not to open it. Along the journey, we started to get hints that there was a live person in there. Concerned, player opens the box. The recipient of the box, a giant creature, suddenly leaps down from the trees. The DM says the player's character is crushed underfoot instantaneously. New character sheet. One of our characters is arrested for something, and I don't remember it as being a matter of total character dickery. DM says, if y'all don't come up with a way to break him out from jail in the next few minutes, he's gonna die at dawn. We sit around trying to think of something. The character indeed dies at dawn. New character sheet. Our quest is to deliver a palantir to someone. Worried, my character tries to take the palantir to the temple for advice. DM says my character feels a sense of dread and considers offing herself as she approaches the temple. Okay, I think. This is obviously a deterrent, and I don't want yet another insta-kill. I have a history of trying to off myself as well. Not knowing what else to do, we deliver the palantir. DM shakes his head and said, we just doomed the world. So, we go to ask an NPC for advice, and the DM tells us to explain, in detail, what we did. We do. The NPC scolds us harshly. We go to another NPC to ask for advice, and the DM asks us to explain, in detail, what we did. I say, do we have to tell you again? And he replies, you're not telling me, you're telling NPC. Embarrassed, we tell the story again. The NPC scolds us harshly. DM says we should reconsider telling a lot of people what happened. This was over the span of maybe 4 sessions tops. Mid-session, I packed up my stuff and said, I'm not having fun, so I'm leaving, and walk out. Consequences equals I'm a fucking sadist. OP, you missed the perfect chance here. As you were leaving, you should have said, I'm leaving because, your actions have consequences too. Feels like the DM and our previous railroader would have gotten along nicely. Wait, maybe they do know each other. Maybe they formed a team with all the horrible DMs out there. No, not a team, a league. The League of Evil DMs. I can imagine the meeting going something like this. First DM, you'll never guess what happened. I TPK'd the party, gave them no chance to avoid it, then blamed it all on the rolls. Second DM, that's nothing. I killed their characters with no chance to save them and blamed it all on them, and the fools paid me for it. But enough from me. What do you think? I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. Which DM was worse? Or what would you do if you were in this situation? Let me know with a comment. Likes are always appreciated. They really feed the old algorithm. In any case, thank you so much for watching and especially making it to the end. And as always, play your character. Don't let your character play you.